Some names don't need an introduction. They already live somewhere in your thoughts. Lana Rhoades is one of them. You didn't just see her, you noticed her, and that difference matters. It starts with the eyes, not because they're looking at you, but because they feel like they could. There's curiosity there, a quiet confidence, like she knows something, and she's deciding whether you deserve to know it too. She never begs for attention. She lets it come to her, and somehow, that makes you lean in closer. Lana's presence isn't loud. It doesn't rush. It settles, like a slow song you didn't realize was getting under your skin, until you catch yourself replaying it. Again and again. She understands the power of anticipation, of not revealing everything at once. And that's where desire grows, in what's held back. There's something dangerous about a woman who's comfortable in her own skin. Not reckless, not careless, just aware. Aware of how she moves, aware of how silence can say more than words, aware that sometimes the smallest gestures can trigger the biggest reactions. A tilt of the head, a slow smile, a look that lasts half a second longer than necessary, enough to make you wonder what she's thinking. And that's the trick. She doesn't tell you what to think. She lets you imagine, and imagination is always more powerful than anything spelled out. You start filling in the blanks, creating moments, scenes, what ifs, and suddenly, she's not just someone you're watching, she's someone you're feeling. Lana became a fantasy because she felt real, too real, not perfect, not distant, but approachable in a way that feels dangerous to admit, like the kind of woman who could sit across from you quietly and still completely undo you without saying a single word. That kind of power doesn't fade, it lingers. There's confidence in the way she owns her story, in the way she steps forward without apology. That confidence does something to people. It makes them feel brave and exposed at the same time, because confidence invites honesty, and honesty invites desire. Think about it. The moments that stay with you are never rushed. They're slow, intentional, full of tension, the kind where nothing happens, but everything could. That's the energy she carries. The feeling that you're standing right at the edge of something, and choosing to stay there just a little longer. She doesn't need to be touched to make you feel closer. She just needs to exist in the same moment, and suddenly you're aware of your own breathing, your own thoughts, the quiet space between beats. Because desire isn't loud, it whispers. Lana represents more than attraction. She represents permission. Permission to want, to look, to feel without explaining yourself, to enjoy the tension without needing a conclusion. Sometimes the most intoxicating part is never crossing the line, just standing close enough to feel the heat. That's why her image stays with you, not because of what's shown, but because of what's suggested. A glance that invites, a smile that holds back, a moment that feels private, even when it isn't. And your mind does the rest, because real desire doesn't start with touch. It starts with attention, with awareness, with the feeling of being pulled in, without realizing how far you've gone. That's the quiet power. That's the allure. And once it's there, once that feeling settles in, you don't rush to escape it. You let it linger.